They're going to look to cut. You got to read the defense, and that's where Kansas State's got to be solid.
Lee, right side this time, off the window here at Kansas State as she begins this year. McNeil trying to get past Glenn. There's Lee waiting in the wings.
We talked about the defense. You hold teams to just under 50 a game.
Deflected ball inside. Lee defending one-on-one. Up and under. That block ripped away by Lee. 2 blocks for the K-State All-American. Lee catches, spins to over the right shoulder and scores.
Especially that 2 through 5 position. Long wingspans, long athletes.
Over the top for Lee, and we're probably going to see a lot of that entry pass in the post tonight from K-State. She comes off the bench.
And Mark, she's the only small player that Jeff Mittie puts on the floor at 5'7". Tough pass, tough catch. Just not a lot of room to throw that over the top, and a great seal-off. And a little bit less of a facilitator. A big story to follow for UConn this year.
Lee shooting over freshman Elizabeth Gentry. By the way, Poindexter feeding Lee. Turns, shoots, and one.
Mark, what are you going to do? I mean, the ball pressure wasn't too bad that time defensively, but just again, you're allowing a 6'6" kid to post up inside the restrict.
Molly trying to split a couple of defenders. It kicks off the right side, tipped by break back to Molly, but Lee able to block it, and on the break, here comes Walker. We asked Coach Flannery about Morgan at the shoot-around today, and she said, you know, she got a little sidetracked because she had a kind of a nagging hamstring injury in September getting ready for the season, and slowed her down.
One and done for the Trojans again. Back to the other end we go. Jalen Glenn left open, fakes the 3, hits Lee with a pass. She gets her own follow and an and 1.
A good ball movement. K-State with the floor spread. They get the ball moving from side to side. Little Rock. And then another upperclassman, and you see it more and more from a
great pass to Lee. Yeah.
You see it.
Belmont Creighton games for K-State. There were a ton of upperclassmen on those teams. Here's Walker with another steal, and she'll go left-handed and lay it in. Nursing some nagging injuries as they try to, again, manage minutes for their superstar in Lee. And Lee, another and 1 inside. Little Rock wanted to travel as Lee caught it. Had someone fly by her face.
It was kind of a double take doing game prep. It's like, really? 12.6 minutes, that's all?
It's crazy. Lee gets another rebound. This one off the miss of Poindexter, and Lee puts it in, and she's already in double figures.
Serena Sundell controls. Working with Jalen Glenn outside the perimeter. First feed down inside to Lee, and first bucket for Ayoka Lee. Rebound Cats. Walker top of the key, look down low, Lee again. And she is 2 for 2 early on.
They've recognized mismatches and where she needs to get the basketball to operate.
Sundell drives baseline, turned away by Cammie Pepler, down low, Lee again. 3 for 3, 6-0 Cats early on.
In this first portion of the first half.
Lee guards Pugh out high. Pugh drives. Lee swats it away. Poindexter comes away with a loose ball. She's a terrific three-point shooter. Single season record for threes at Tulsa last year. You know that shot's going to come back.
Oh, it's going to be there. There's no doubt about it. And people have to honor it. That's why she's guarded out at that three-point line.
Swung around sides. Poindexter floats down low. Lee bodies up Pugh and hits the jumper.
How getting the tandems going early, right? They need to get going early and often. Serena Sundell with the ball now. Look for them to get going straight down to Ayoka Lee for an easy 2. I'm doing your job. Great sign for them to get her going early, like you said.
Three-pointer on the way. That's going to be short of the mark by Poindexter. And then Terrence Sides back over to Glenn for 3. Rings out. Nice rebound. She goes out to get it, does Lee. And here's Sides. Step back 3, swish.
Second chance points for K-State. Sides knocks down the straightaway 3.
Underneath a rejection by Ayoka Lee.
And that was Kansas State's 4th gap of the game. If you don't know what a gap is, we can go into that later in the broadcast. But if you saw, we talk about that connection. Wildcat fans are very familiar with the Sundell to Lee
through traffic. That shot is rejected. Newman went up against Lee. Lee says, get that out of here. Clothing line.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, she's kind of fashionable there. And that was Lee again. So Lee.
Difference for K-State this year. This is the first time you've watched them. The three-point shooting. Lee, fade away. A soft touch. Lee, you can hear the audible calling for the ball. Glenn finds her from the top and a timeout early.
Fitting into the mold, putting players in different spots, giving them more minutes against certain opponents, all of the things that come in the non-conference, how you set yourself up. Right now, you're seeing the pieces of what they want to do, which is a transition game, play fast when you can.
Double team coming to Lee. She turns and fades away the baseline. Don't worry about the score, just worry about the next 4 or 5 minutes. Lee, right side, flips it up and in.
I think that's a big piece of it. You got to take it in sort of those 4 to 5 minute segments.
On the road, that'll be another chance for K-State to show their mettle against another good opponent. And not necessarily what they were a couple of years ago, but still a solid team from the SEC. Sides off the screen, pure. Working her way into the paint, lost the ball. Lee's going to shoot about a free throw line jumper. Got it off the back iron.
I think the other the side of that coin, Brian, is that you can't be just completely siloed and looking at only that. And I think if you're Kansas State, that ball's got to get better movement. They finally get her a touch. It was a step late on the help side from the back, and that's where she's able to clear room. Going cross court, and another mistake by the Panthers.
Lob again to Lee. Sundell finds the All-American inside. 5 for Lee all of a sudden. K-State's lead 15, an 11-1 run right now. No stranger to playing good opponents so far this year. Played 23rd ranked Illinois. Kansas State gets Lee inside.
In the full court, you continue to attack and finish at the rim.
Lob goes to Lee. This time collects herself and scores. 9 for Lee. 4. Ball lost by DeRoche, picked up by K-State. On the run with Glenn. Not quite the numbers. Lob to Lee for the record. She got it! The all-time scoring leader at K-State is Ayoka Lee. The crowd going nuts as Lee is mobbed. It seems like her team. Trying to circle around to find Lee another point. She'll get it here on the baseline finish. Figuratively and literally going up against Ayoka Lee. Taryn Sides in for K-State. With it now, the lob coming for Lee right over the top. Upper part of the lane. See if they can't let her create. Now K-State back to the offensive end. And it goes to Lee again, and Sides with 2 assists, feeding Lee.
In New Mexico State, you want to get the ball in the middle. That's where you want to go, but you want to get it up before you get to Ayoka Lee.
This is really the first game we've seen Lee just totally assert herself on both ends of the court. The Wildcats have had plenty of games against other teams where they've had no shot clock at 5. Sundell a guarded 3. Won't get it. There's Lee. Put back. Yes, and 1.
Great offside rebound there from Ayoka Lee. Corner threes normally are going to go off to the opposite side, so that was a great positioning play by Ayoka Lee and a great finish. Lets out a little burst there.
In all of college basketball.
There were some lopsided wins in the non-conference, but I think it's just been the decisive way in which this Kansas State team has won ball games this year.
Winding it down under 5. Hayes with the ball. Into Ndiba. Over Lee, it's out of bounds and a shot clock violation by the Bearcats.
The Wildcats handling their opponents very easily in non-con.
Final few seconds of the second quarter. Lee working on Hayes, goes up strong and scores her first basket.
And finish.
10 turnovers now for the Bearcats. Another good position. Catch by Lee, easy lay-in.
Step late by Adiba, tries to get around, but that quick post feed from the top of the key.
Cincinnati went 0 of 13 to start the third quarter. Got down 30 points. Glenn got a late block shot. Lee comes in and blocks Hayes. But the Wildcats get bogged down a little bit, Mal, here in the half court. 10 on the shot clock. Lee a little farther away for the basket this time. Doesn't matter. Double figures for Lee.
So these two teams haven't met often. Obviously last year, Kansas State coming away with the victory. Blocked there by Sundell, and then another block by Lee, it looked like. So good defense from the Wildcats. Sundell tries to get it into Lee off the backboard on what looked like a missed play by Love. Lee winds up with the ball back in her hands and then finishes it.
The physicality here on this one, Peyton McFarland battling Love, just keeping the ball up high. That's something that your coach...
They looked dejected on the sideline, and so he said, look, keep your heads up. You got to want it more than this Kansas State team if you want to get back in it. We've got to box out, keep them off the free throw line, and make sure you're getting back on defense. This is going to be where it's challenging for Houston. We know they don't have a lot.
Can you dig deep? Can you focus? Can you hone in on what you need to do and make it difficult for Kansas State if you want to try to get back in it here in this last 5 minutes and 32 seconds?
Lee with a big block there as Layla Blair tried to work inside.
And the opening tip won by Kansas State, who will work from left to right as you see it. A quick lob into the 6'6" All-American Lee. K-State wanted to make her a focus. She gets the first touch and the first basket.
Could be for 2 minutes, it could be for 6 or 7. No matter what the game situation is, you need those bench players ready to go.
Here's Lee, turn around on the baseline, able to hit it. Lee already with 8 points.
But they're going to have their hands full in what is an incredibly physical game so far on both ends.
Pete doubled, or it came with a double and lost Lee, and Lee makes Texas Tech pay.
That was slow rotation, and Krista Gerlach and her staff, they all saw it happen almost in slow motion. But Pete...
For a moment had Sonogo open on that pick and roll, but didn't get the pass. Here's Shavers. Went to the ground. Lee just takes the ball away. They struggle from behind the arc against Houston. Here's Lee, unable to hit, gets her own rebound, put back up and in, and a foul.
And give credit to Sarah Sonogo. She did exactly what she had to do on the first touch. She contests Ayoka Lee, but when you can't corral the rebound, that's when she makes you pay. Great hands, great finish through the contact, and a chance at that 3-point.
3 straight defensive stops. That's a big focus for the Wildcats. That's something that Coach Mitty has put out there to this team. He started it last year, and this team's continued it on, and it turns into a score. Again, right now, both coaches talked with us today at shoot-around. They have so much, awareness of the other team, and they're Touré's back on for the Utes. Ball fake one way, help D over. She gets sandwiched, batted around.
Great help side by Tamara Pondek.
I wonder what her hourly rate is. That's what you got to figure out, right? How do you pay her?
Hey, it's going up after this one.
It sure is. Jenna Johnson gets sandwiched, and Lee says, let's go.
It's a battle right now between she and Chris.
And again, inside to Lee, double team, somebody's open. Glenn, how about a 3 for her? But Ross not able to finish. It's little things like that. If you're gonna upset the number 12 team in the nation, you gotta hit those shots, because Ayoka Lee will.
Yeah, and
the horns. And their goal is to have 7 gaps per game. I'm not sure where they are, but we've seen.
Given Davenport's recent shooting struggle, she scores from the short corner left to give BYU a 4-point lead.
Dav just averages 5 points per game, but boy, if she can get going, it's going to stretch the defense.
Lee, tough shot over Gillespie in that post matchup. Kansas State, headlined by Ayoka Lee, who has 6 points.
When you're handing the ball over, this can get out of hand quickly.
Sundell knows where to go. Lee inside on the block over Gillespie again. Side cycle to Sundell. They want Lee inside. They get her. No good on the first attempt. Gets the offensive rebound and scores with a foul on the putback. Ayoka Lee, 16 points, with a shot at 17 coming from the charity stripe. That, along with Poindexter's 22, giving Kansas State 39 of their 60 points. In fact, Lee and Poindexter have equal BYU's team total. Glenn left wide open in transition. 66-40.
29-point lead. After that, Serena Sundell 3. She's made 2 today, Kristen, and the barrage continues.
Yeah, this is where the Wildcats are going to have to exploit Arizona. You've got to get out in transition. It's got to be one and done for them. But this is the matchup to keep your eye on. Feels at times kind of pedestrian, but those are the numbers that you have an expectation of from one of the best guards in the Big 12.
Lee, another block shot. That's going to be her 4th.
The rim protection is what is the difference maker for Kansas State. Adia Barnes looking for that.
Bay, top of the circle. Knocked away by Lee, but Cunningham gets it back. Blocked by Lee, number 7.
And Adia Barnes looking for the contact. There was a lot with the body from Ayoka Lee.
Extra pass as K-State spreads the floor again. Poindexter down to Lee. Too low of a pass for Ayoka Lee. She's able to tie up.
They want to continue to add to this lead. Keep that foot on the gas.
Lee gets the ball inside and slams it in off the glass. The Wildcats back the other way. First in the country in field goal percentage. Field goal percentage defense, 3-point shooting, and 3-point percentage defense. And she'll get the defensive rebound on the miss by Fauntleroy, just a 28% 3-point shooter. The Wildcats back the other way. They find Lee on an assist from the nation's leader in that category, Sundell. Walker trying to get Lee inside. The pass finally comes, working on Parkinson. Turnaround, rolls around and in. Parkinson and Lee leading on each other. Lee knocks away the ball. It's down to the ground. Another tie-up. Arrow favors the Sun Devils.
How you want to be able to contain Nichols, I think that's number 1 on the scouting report.
She is back.
You can't deny it when she gets deep and gets position. Played here last year, so this Bramlage experience, not anything new for her.
Lee off the window and down.
That's going to be a weapon that they're going to have to attack. You got to figure out a way. But I think the key here is stops on this end, Ben, and they can't figure out a way to move Ayoka Lee out of that paint.